ISIS is honoring President Obama. He is the founder of ISIS. He's the founder of ISIS. I would say the co-founder would be crooked Hillary Clinton.
Welcome back to another edition of Enough Said. My name's Dan Barrero. Justin Guard is to my left, and in the control room, Lori Fisher. Hi, Lori.
Hi, guys. Powerful words from Donald Trump. You just heard him there. It appears he blames President Obama for ISIS. Again, he's claiming sarcasm. He also tweeted out Friday, "I love watching these poor, pathetic people, pundits, on television working so hard and so seriously to try and figure me out. They can't." Trump also took some heat when he suggested that Second Amendment people, those who support gun rights, could take action to stop Clinton. Dan.
Well, here, let's start with that part, because that
Second Amendment?
The Second Amendment stuff, because that's part of the debate. Okay, the debate is, well, he didn't really mean that. Here's what he said. Again, let's get to the specifics. If she gets to pick, as in judges, if she gets to pick her judges, I can't do his voice like you can.
No.
Nothing you can do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know. Now, what else could he be talking about? Because the way the sentence is constructed, and I hate to actually diagram a Donald Trump sentence.
And try to figure him out?
And figure him out, is she's already elected. So the only thing the Second Amendment people could do where he's playing this game is take her out, right? So I keep getting emails from people saying, that's really not what he was saying. It's exactly what he was saying. Do I think he literally means he wants somebody to take her out? No, I don't. But let's be fair, that's what he said. Yet again, and then he plays the game after of sarcasm, or as Jesse used to say, Governor Ventura, joke, joke, joke. Remember those days?
I do, very vaguely, and I feel like for this show, we should just tape one segment every week, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and it's the same every week. That Trump says something stupid, then apologizes for it. Trump says another thing stupid, then apologizes for it. The X factor is, now Hillary Clinton's in the meat grinder a little bit this week as well. So I don't know how we would mix Clinton in, but no, you're exactly right. He absolutely meant that.
He wanted the shock value of that.
And I said this when we talked about the Russians getting the emails. On the surface, it's a good joke if it's sarcasm. Like if you're just hanging out with your buddies, it's kind of a good joke, but it's only a good joke.
Or a comedy club.
Or if you don't. It shows you don't understand the importance of what you're actually saying.
Well, it shows you don't want to win.
Well, it could.
I mean, because you mentioned the Clinton stuff. There's new, good, juicy, legitimate Clinton stuff from CNN and the New York Times about once again gaming the system on you help me out on the foundation. We'll give you governmental access. That should be big. That should trouble people. It troubles me. But what did I predict yesterday on the radio? I said, that story's going to go away because Trump's going to do something else that's going to have to be clarified. And what was it? It was the first soundbite you heard.
Yeah.
The ISIS stuff, where he's saying, no, he founded it. And other people have said to him, well, no, you mean that his policies created a vacuum that allowed ISIS to thrive. He goes, no, he founded it, and crooked Hillary did too.
Yeah.
So once again, an opportunity is lost by him to have the media maybe concentrate on the new Clinton stuff because they're having too much fun going back over the same old stuff on what's he saying? They didn't found it. Is that treason? Where are you going with this? So he loses playing this game. As much fun as he has, I guess, tweaking the media and having them scramble, it gives him even less of a chance to get back in the race. So he loses.
Secret meetings in the Republican Party going on right now.
Yeah.
There's secret meetings with a third party, right? There's a lot of secret meetings on how we're going to try to get out of this box. Unfortunately, what is it? August,
There's no
August
way
12th. There's no way out. These are our choices. For 2016, these are our choices, and this is what we're living with. And we talk about it every week right here in the first segment of this show.
It is maybe the objective, the goal for next week should be, no matter what Trump says
Leave it
or
alone.
whatever Hillary's involved with, we ignore it.
I'd be fine with
for
it.
the first block. And maybe that would be refreshing. It was hard to do that this week.
Yeah.
Because there's so much there yet again. But maybe that's what we do. Maybe we'll talk to Lori about that.
Maybe we'll do a Trump lightning round.
On that note, enough said, and then on our conference call, we'll have to remember that you guys said that.
I like lightning round.
Yeah,
good idea. Just all Trump and Clinton in the lightning round.
Well, let's move on to back here at home. Minneapolis Police announced some policy changes when it comes to the department's use of force. Officers will be required to use de-escalation techniques. Here's Chief of Police Janae Hartel.
Inundated with extreme thinking, which is adding to the volatility and creating divisiveness at levels, frankly, we've never seen.
Training officers in the appropriate use of distance and cover to protect themselves and to slow down calls when they can.
These changes have been in the works since last spring when a presidential task force released a report because of the recent police shootings.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think we'll all agree that in theory this sounds good. Any way you can go about implementing policy or training police to de-escalate, I don't know anyone who's going to be against that.
No, sounds good on the surface.
The question is going to be, when the rubber meets the road, where does this actually lead? And, you know, there's an allusion to this task force, a White House report from, I think, actually 2015. And here's the irony of that I found just the other day. In that report, the president and his staff praised, guess which police department for its policies? Baltimore.
Really?
As being, at the time, use of force reforms, heading that in a more progressive direction. They even quote the police commissioner as saying they've changed outdated procedures that, quote, put officers at odds with the community. And all this reminds me of, again, is how easy it is to talk about and how apparently much more difficult it's going to be in practice when, again, you're talking about doing a job that I wouldn't even want to get near in 2016.
Everything sounds great in the boardroom. Everything sounds great in the conference room. If you're a coach, it all looks good in the practice field, so to speak. But it all does still come down to the moment of truth, right?
Yeah.
And no matter, sometimes you're training, and policies are great, obviously. It's going to be the follow-through, how you're instructing, how you're training, who you're bringing in for that, how the police officers are taking to it, and if they actually apply them out into the field. There's a lot of different X factors. No one's going to disagree that things need to change somehow, right, between what's going on with the police and the community. But the problem is the follow-through. All it takes is one incident.
Well, and Baltimore is a good example. We just got the report this week, a scathing report about the same department that got praised as being progressive in this particular area, just got pounded.
And some things work in different communities. Like Baltimore went the New York route, basically the zero tolerance, after Giuliani did it in New York. Worked great for New York, people think. Now the stop and frisk thing, that came later.
That's the court issue.
Exactly.
Whether that went
too
far.
But just the broken window theory and all that worked really well for New York, most people thought. Baltimore, it sounds like it was a disaster. And
now everybody is talking about Dallas as being the progressive place, but what does that mean? What have they done that's different, and does that really hold up, as I said, or do we find out a year later, as we have in the case of Baltimore, that now the same people who thought they were progressive really have discovered that there was a lot more behind the scenes that was not being done legally speaking.
And can you rubber stamp it? What works in Dallas? Will it work in Minneapolis? Will it work in Florida? You know what I mean? Communities are different.
And the sad thing is, we all sit here holding our breath each week. That there's not another story that's going to end up taking over nationally, 3 or 4 weeks of continuous coverage of yet another event. And anything that can discourage that or make that less likely, I think everybody is for.
Enough said. Let's have some fun. Overseas, there's a bar in southeast England that's blocking Wi-Fi and all phone reception. They are trying to get customers to socialize. Put your phone down. Could this idea catch on there, here? I mean, we all say we want to disconnect, but it's so hard. Justin?
I think it's easy to disconnect. I would love it. Like, my phone's nowhere near me right now. I love it.
Well, it can't be now.
Well,
actually,
it
is near you.
I could have. Well, it's over that way. But I love.
I hope you have it on silence.
Well, you're not going to call me. This will be the time you call me.
That's
so
true.
I don't. I know I'm not expecting any phone calls. I love unplugging. It is hard when you're a workaholic or you feel like you're missing something. But I feel like this bar will have a surge of about a week. People will try it. It'll be like a new restaurant. People will try it, and then when it's coming up with their friends, they'll say, "Oh, I don't want to go there. How are we going to Snapchat our stuff? How are we going to Insta our night? How are we going to do all this stuff?" I love it in practice. I think it's good for everybody to try to unplug. It's sad that we have to have a bar mandated, and I hope they do well.
I'd like to see it tried by a lot of bars, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them would say, "Well, good luck." I mean, we're going to lose. You know, we're going to be down 100% from our business the year before. And also, keep one thing in mind be careful what you wish for here, because this is going to make it harder when you end up in a group that you don't particularly like somehow, and there's a lot of nervous moments of silence where nobody really wants to talk to anybody. Now you're going to have to fill those with conversation.
That's the point.
I know.
Can't do that anymore.
But in some cases you might not want to.
Well, you might not want to, but then
you might actually want.
But that would be good because then you're simplifying your life. At the end of the day, you come home and you say, "I really didn't have a lot to say to that person. I thought we were good friends, and it was nice to see him for 10, 20 minutes, but After that, we really didn't have much to discuss.
Well, how about
you
this?
simplify your life more by eliminating that time now.
Could
that
you
to
have a
spend with them.
bar? We have a lot of bars where you know, like in the winter, you check your coat or your winter coat.
Yes.
A bar where you literally check your phone at a place. You get a number, you know, and that's where it is. And so there's no chance. Could we really? I mean, I think some places might actually be
think it's
successful.
a good idea.
I think it is worth trying.
Or have it like bar mode, where it's like airplane mode and
Yeah.
it doesn't work. So you're basically saying like what Prince used to do at Paisley Park.
Something I used to rip.
Check your phones at
I
the
used
door.
to call that presumptuous and arrogant on
Now
the
you think
part
it's a
of
good idea.
performers. Now I think it might be a pretty good idea because we can't be trusted. I mean, we've proven it time and again. How about Dolphin Flipper?
Yeah.
That ended up
Taking
so
the iPad.
annoyed with it being photographed by an iPad, a big iPad. You got this beautiful animal in front of you. You can't just look at the animal.
You gotta save
And what
it.
did the Dolphin do?
Welcome back to Enough Said. We just can't resist the storylines coming out of the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio. He's the most decorated Olympian of all time, swimmer Michael Phelps. He's 31 years old, really a standout in both his individual and team races this year, just insane. And I wanted you guys to see this. You could call his new baby boy Boomer America's sweetheart. Dan?
Well, it's amazing how much this story on Phelpsy has changed, is it not?
Yeah.
I mean, I brought along, this is a Google search.
Okay.
This was the what I put in the search engine. Phelps stopped smoking pot. And so what came up actually was all the times when they wrote about the fact that he did.
Yep.
Olympic athletes can smoke weed since 2013. Michael Phelps explains why he didn't sue the guy who leaked that photo of him holding a bong. Michael Phelps weed effects. Top 5 weed head athletes. Those are all the headlines.
Not to be confused with the drinking and driving problems that he's had
Absolutely.
as well. Not
Absolutely
to be confused
right.
with all that.
The whole combo platter put him in such a different place. Compare that to his continued accomplishments, which are now beyond absurd, historic, record-breaking. And you saw the photo that Lori could not resist as well of the kid. And so we have not only a complete transition in terms of him taking the next step as an Olympic all-time great, which was probably already secured to a point.
It was.
You have the transition from an image standpoint as well, that suddenly, and I don't even know if he smokes pot anymore. I have no idea. I'd like to think he said enough, and I'm gonna get back to what I want to do. But the point is, he's looked upon completely differently as this serious guy who's dedicated once again to his craft, and the result the whole world is seeing.
What he did in that medley last night, where that was built up all day
Right.
as Phelps, Lochte, the final time. Besides the Canadian broadcaster who screwed it up and thought that Lochte won, you feel bad for that
I do,
guy.
actually. I actually feel bad for him.
Well, you should. I mean, that's a mistake.
For people who don't know, a Canadian broadcaster basically said, Phelps isn't even going to be on the medal stand.
He thought Phelps
What
was
happened?
Lochte and Lochte was Phelps.
That's exactly
So
it.
besides him, no one even noticed Ryan Lochte or anybody else in that pool because Phelps just made a mockery of what had been kind of a nice back and forth between those two. The great ones have an extra gear. We've always talked about that. With him, it seems like there are 3 or 4 more gears. In the relays, a couple of nights ago when he had that unbelievable turn, got the team back into first place. After last night, he goes back 37 minutes later to do the butterfly. He's 8th at the wall. He finishes 2nd in 25 minutes. It's incredible what he's doing. It's fun to watch, and everybody thinks, including him, he's saying it's a great way to ride off.
We
Are we
to
sure
move on
he's
to
riding
basketball.
off?
Well,
Are we
no,
sure he's
we're
riding
not
off?
sure.
I don't think he should.
No, that's true.
Let's talk about the U.S. women's basketball team's dominance. Is it bad for the Olympics when you have such powerhouses, and is it the same effect when it comes to individual sports, Dan?
Well, it is interesting. We've just spent all this time on Phelps, and nobody seems embittered or bothered that he's this dominant again.
Except Ryan Lochte.
Well, except Lochte and that broadcaster. But in team sports, and I think both the men's basketball team and women's run into this. The women a little bit more so far. It is this sort of, what's the point? What's the point of the competition? I mean, why is this fun to watch? And it's aesthetically probably not that much fun to watch because everybody wants, I guess, to see close races.
Yeah.
But to a certain extent, in whatever the sport is, to me, it is what it is. And if a team's that dominant, we've got a lot of obvious advantages when it comes to basketball, et cetera. We know that, especially on the women's side. I don't understand exactly what these teams are supposed to do. No one's asking Phelps to apologize. No one's asking Ledecky, another unbelievable swimmer. And we had another swimming, we probably should mention, another
Simone Manuel.
The first African-American woman to win a swimming gold, correct?
Yes.
In the 100 meters. So
might have been the best moment of the night.
It could have been.
If Phelps won, that was a terrific moment,
Yes.
the whole thing.
Yeah. So you tell me. I mean, what are we supposed to do with the team? You want to go back to bringing college players? I
No.
guess some people do. I don't get that.
Well, we don't even have to break it down to individuals. I mean, no one's complaining that the United States women's gymnastics team has not only won a second straight gold, but were so dominant that it was basically the easiest gold medal to call.
Well, maybe Gabby Douglas did.
Gabby Douglas is a little upset.
She might be complaining.
She might be mad.
She didn't seem all that happy last night.
Simone Biles, her margin of victory last night is
the roof,
greater than the margin of victory going back to before I was born. If you go 1980 to where we were in 2012, her margin of victory, she's dominant, and she could come back and do it again, and no one's really complaining there. Maybe it's just you get a fatigue factor
That could be
if you do it over and over and over again. But no, I have no problem with it. Bring your best. There's other sports where the U.S. doesn't win. Where they haven't won historically. And you don't complain. You just try to get better.
Well, and sadly, there have been the complaint that's bugged me the most is Paul George, the U.S. men's Olympic basketball player.
Yeah.
Australia finally plays the U.S. team close, and all he's bleeding and whining and complaining is they were borderline dirty. And it's like, so other teams aren't allowed to actually compete against you? There's a certain arrogance there that bugged me. I'm not ready to root against the U.S. yet.
No.
But if he keeps that up, I might. I mean,
that's
it's
like
just
Coach K.
silly.
Coach K should put him on the bench. The
And
problem is
finally-
the bench is thinner now. There's no LeBron. There's no Steph
That's
Curry.
true.
He needs guys like
Let's
Paul
keep going.
George.
And finally, from Phelps' face to the finger wags like swimmer Lily King, your term, Armchair Olympics. Why does it seem that every performance and gesture brings out Pitchfork Nation, Dan?
Not only that, every announcing decision which is made. So a story is told, I don't remember the nationality of the swimmer, Eastern European swimmer, who has come out of nowhere, and he is terrific. And announcer guy basically gives the credit to the coach. And immediately it's, oh, I see. The female performer doesn't get any of the credit the coach does. And this isn't that complicated. When a performer who hasn't been a major factor suddenly becomes a major factor, journalists and broadcasters look for reasons. And one of the reasons in her case is the coach, who I think also happens to be either husband or partner, I'm not sure which.
Yep.
And that is a significant part of the story. But the assumption is always made that when you tell the story, you've got some ulterior motive for doing so, when no, that's part of the story. And whether a coach gets too much credit, we've been arguing that since Tiger Woods and his father, correct?
Yes.
It goes on forever. That's not necessarily an issue of gender.
The Olympics are good and fun, and people like them because of the storylines behind it. Otherwise we'd watch swimming all the time. We'd watch gymnastics all the time.
And I like the finger wag. I think you do too.
I like the finger wag as well. I liked everything Phelps has done. The Phelps face, that's my favorite graphic of all time, the Phelps face. I want to make that my new Twitter profile picture, the Phelps face, when the dude is shadowboxing there. No, you tell the stories, you follow the stories, as you always say, and that's what makes these people interesting. That's why we care about these people.
Fleshes it out.
Every 4 years.
Because we don't know them otherwise
We
in many
don't.
cases, but let's not pretend we do.
We don't.
You know what I think is sexist is this notion that other, like the other women's basketball teams, the Olympics, have to be protected. Like if they get routed, they're going to curl up in the fetal position because they're that fragile. Isn't that sexist?
It would
to
be
me,
part of that.
That would be part of the issue if you want to talk about sexism.
I bring it back to gymnastics again. The
right.
Caroli family, Marta's been given huge amounts of credit for the program that she's put together, how she pushes these girls, how she's turned around the whole program.
Welcome back to Enough Said. They have their own hashtag, Free the Parkhead. A group of women who cheer for the Vikings say they're not being included in the upcoming preseason game at U.S. Bank Stadium. These women, known as the St. Louis Parkettes, cheered from 1964 to 1984. The Vikings say they will look for a way to honor them in the future. Justin.
I think the lesson here is update your databases, because that's what the Vikings, you don't buy the whole database.
You're giving them that
theory.
alibi. You're handing it to them.
I'm giving them the,
Are you going to get in free to a couple games this year?
Well,
Why?
I got the press pass.
That's true.
But that's a little different. I don't think I'm going to be in Club Purple or anything like that, any of the nine
now, after this
fan
segment, you might
experiences.
be.
No, obviously, we've had probably too much fun with this story. We've had a lot of fun with this story. The hashtag.
I don't know how the hashtag got started.
No idea how that hashtag got started. I certainly didn't retweet it dozens of times. The whole thing, it's amazing that we're still talking about it 3 days later, but they blew it. They've blown it along the way, you could argue, in that they haven't tried to include not just the Parkettes, but the Vikings.
The Vikings were the original cheerleaders, you're
1961
saying. No one ever
1963.
talked. Do they have a hashtag?
They don't have a hashtag, and maybe we should try to start that one. Let's just get all the updated databases so there aren't these miscommunications anymore. There's room for 200 people, and they weren't apparently.
Well,
there wasn't apparently room for the Parkheads.
I'll just give you the definition of Ubuntu, which every team wants to have, sort of the feeling of everybody's headed in the same direction.
Yes.
Ubuntu is a quality that includes the essential human virtues, compassion, and humanity. How can this team go into this season with Ubuntu when it denies 20 years of cheerleaders who did it when it was tough?
Yes.
They did it pre-dome. They did it when the wind chill was minus 90.
And Bud Grant didn't allow heaters.
Exactly.
He didn't allow hot chocolates. He didn't allow blankets.
No.
He didn't. That went for the Parkettes too, I'm pretty sure, not just the players.
Well, and let's also not forget, in all their humility going into this new stadium, the Vikings say to the ones they want to, quote-unquote, honor, hey, you can come into a preseason game and we'll honor you, but you'll have to pay us basically $100 between the ticket and the jersey, whatever jersey they're going to wear. Isn't that, to me, that might bug me more than the free the Parkettes thing, because if you want to give them the alibi, they didn't know who was who, fine, although I still think there are ways to try to do that. But is that how you honor people?
By making them pay?
You make them pay their way in. How much money is that for Ziggy? That's like 1/50th of 1/10 of 1% of one seat license it would be.
We figured
Give
it
me a
out.
break.
Yeah, it was about $26,000, I think, with the $52.
The vibe, I'm telling you, the vibe now is
This could be it.
This could set the wrong vibe for this team from the start of the season.
I know you guys are very passionate about
We
this,
have
but
to.
we
We
have
have
to
to be.
move on to the
Save-
lightning round.
No, free the Parkettes.
Free the Parkettes.
Got to get my hashtag.
Free the Parkettes.
Okay, ready? Let's start with veteran ESPN sportscaster John Saunders passes away this week at just 61 years old. He joined the network in 1986. Dan.
It's a horrible story. I don't know that we still know everything about it. There's the straw that stirs the drink broadcaster, and then there's the broadcaster who allows the other straws to start stirring the drink.
Yeah.
And that was his brilliance. Is he got, I'm not going to be the star, but I can be the guy who allows other people to be stars. There's an art to that. It's not easily done, and he was absolutely brilliant.
Versatility. He made all of this stuff, the
Yes.
TV stuff, look easy. He could do
Seamless.
play-by-play. He
Right.
could do hosting. He could do sideline reporting. He could do everything.
And it's a good point because he did have opinions.
Yes.
But he didn't have to be the star of the whole deal.
Versatile.
Next up,
Yeah.
NDSU's new media policy, very restrictive, and then the school's president nixed it, but he may have known more than he let on, according to some exposed emails. Justin.
Yeah, emails, texts, and he came out. You got to remember what you say if you're going to go out and lie, right? Isn't that what you teach your kids?
Yeah.
It's
Especially
either,
whenever all this stuff now, it's going to come out via freedom of information.
right. It's either tell the truth so you don't have to remember what you say, or make sure you remember. Those are the two life lessons when it comes to lying. They've completely blown this, and it's all over a meaningless, low-rent 1660 AM radio station
For
that's
the
only
check.
going to exist for the games, and they took the
Well,
money, and now he might lose his job.
It's the old cliche in politics. Often it's the cover-up,
Yes.
not the crime that nails you, and that's the position that he might well be in at this
Okay,
point.
check out this video for those of you who have missed it. A man scales the Trump Tower in Manhattan. Eventually, New York police officers get him by knocking on a window on the 21st floor. He wanted to meet with Donald Trump for what he called an important matter. Dan.
I got to be honest. The reason I like this story was then some chumbalone ended up superimposing him on scaling Michael Phelps' body.
Yeah.
Because there's been so much Michael Phelps cupping discussed, which I
Yeah.
think we're going to get
We're
to
gonna get to
later.
cupping.
That's the part that gets me. The other thing is, how did they grab this guy without him? Weren't they worried when they grabbed him that they might not, and he falls off the edge of the building?
Well, they had, I think, underneath, they had
Did
the inflatable jumpy house thing.
Oh,
so,
man.
so they had that, but it was pretty riveting video when they did. They literally just reached out and grabbed the
Is
guy.
he going to get a video out of it himself? I
He
think,
probably
or a
has
movie,
one,
or,
yeah.
or
You
yeah,
can't
a couple of
legislate
appearances.
stupid, though,
No.
I think is
He
what
was
we learned
charged
there.
with something. Okay, get this. President Obama dropped his 2016 summer playlist. The list is divided into day and night songs. Everybody from Prince, Beach Boys, Miles Davis. Are you going to change what's on your playlist, Justin?
Maybe. I liked Obama After Dark.
Eclectic. I did too. I like
liked
that better,
Obama After Dark more. It doesn't seem like he's jump-starting his day with my kind of music. It's just not my kind of music. But I like the Tower of Power
I thought it was
inclusion.
I thought the day stuff was too all-inclusive.
You think so?
Like he's trying to placate everybody and every musical
No,
taste.
you think that might have
Politician
something
would
to
never
do?
do that,
No,
would he?
not a president.
At night, though, Miles Davis and the Tower of Power classic, so very hard to go. Right there, he won me. Right
You own
there,
an Apple
he won me.
Criminal. Does that do anything for you?
Actually, yes.
That's a great song.
It's a hell of a
That's
song, is
the
what it
first
is.
song I looked at and I
That's a
said, that's
throwback.
good.
That's
it's
a
a
Robert
throwback from
Smith
college days.
favorite song.
Oh, is
by
it
the way.
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
like
that.
him
And
running
it's
back.
all the talk this week. I know we've had days and days of it, but I
Yeah.
have to get your point of view on this. It's the cupping, those circle marks that we saw in Phelps and other athletes at the Olympics. I had to Google it. I figured it was the Gwyneth Paltrow thing. Have you guys, Dan, we talked a little bit about this, but have you guys just considered doing this?
Well, actually, my massage therapist proposed it, and I said, well, tell me some more about it.
Yeah.
What the hell happens here? And she said, well, it hurts a little bit, but it really works. It brings the blood to the surface. You'll probably have some marks for like several years after that. Now, I'm exaggerating that. And when I said, I don't want to get beaten up during my massage therapy appointment. So, no, I don't want to get anywhere near it. But I have to admit, I looked at him and I'm going, did I miss something on Phelpsy? But it's all the rage, apparently.
And can you argue with the results?
No, but I think he was good before cupping.
This good, though, at this age? And that's, I think, probably part of the reason why he's doing it.
So it's the cupping.
From London?
And stopping the marijuana, or maybe continuing the marijuana.
It's all part of a holistic plan. It's not always just one thing. Yeah, it's all part of, you've got to have a plan, you've got to have a regimen. I'm worried about people trying it at home, though, trying to get cupping on the cheap. Because you just get cups and you heat them up and then you rub them. I don't know. That makes me